Hawg Day, folks, aka Bob Stinnett from Texas. I'm the owner and the inventor of Hold a Hog snare traps. We use a modified leg hold trap to deliver a spring-loaded snare to the hog's leg. It's all about that spring-loaded snare. The trap itself will not hold a house cat. Check us out, www.holdahog.com.
Okay.
Hanging out here waiting for a little breakfast, and daylight's about to break. Got some folks still laid up in bed. We got some hog traps to run. We'll load up on the mule and get the Bronco in tow. We'll see if we have any hogs this morning. All right. We got a few guys come in, some from the police department, some from other places. We're doing a little hold a hog trapping school here today. So a lot of times you do these things don't work out, but fortunately today we've caught several hogs. And this one is a little sow we caught here on a pig trail. So one of these guys was asking the other day why we're going to sit here. We got a trail. The hogs are rooting here, picking up the old acorns. You can also tell there's deer in here by these deer droppings right here. So what we did was put some dry carrion bait in order to not catch a deer. And there's several things here of interest I'd like to point out. This is a natural step over right here. This little limb. A hog's going to come up to that, and he don't want to hang his toe on it and trip no more than you do. So we set the trap just right on the other side so that when he steps over, he's in our trap. These logs I put here, I made a little blocking, created a little funnel like. We tie it off over here sharp. We have our spring on it, our shock spring. And we just set this one right in the middle of the trail. But if you do little things like this, and even if there's not a natural obstacle there, I'll use a limb about the size of your arm or so, about 6 inches or so from your trap set. The animal will step over the limb, he's in your trap. Also, if you notice here, another reason we chose slip here, there's a stock pond back down in there, and you can see the mud here. These hogs have been rolling, rubbing up against these trees. And the tracks, and the droppings, and the old acorns are in here rooting up. So this was just a really good place to make a set. And caught a little old sow. It's not a trophy, but it's a nice little hog. Ranch owner will be glad to get it off his property. And these guys got to see another hog and hold a hog snare trap. Just over here.
Yeah, you gotta go a little further.
What we decided to do here is just put this hog down. One of my students here is gonna put him down.
Ready?
Yes, sir. There you go. Okay, we're gonna pick this one up. Of course, it's hot. We're gonna throw him in the back of the truck, take him to the house, skin him, and put him on some ice. Snatch him out of there, Ronnie. Go in, right here, straight in, all the way down, and then sweep the end of your blade. You're catching all the arteries and all the. There you go. As you go, it's a sweep. It's not a stab. Alright, that's about 4 hogs we've caught today here on this one property with Hold a Hog snare trap. We had a couple of misses, but that's to be expected. It's a raccoon or hog stepped on the edge of the trap, you never know. But we was able to show you a few hogs today, so we got to get to the house and get this thing on ice. Don't make that look easy. Come on, that was great. Okay, what we're going to do is we put down a little light hog a while ago, that's sow, and I've got plenty of hog meat in the freezer. I don't want it myself, but we're going to bring it in here. And I got a couple of hands that want it for sausage. That's really about all they're good for this time of the year. They're poor and drought up here in Texas, and we make some good sausage, though. By the time they get through with it, it'll be pretty tasty. And of course, we don't want the animal to go to waste. So this is our system here. We use a tractor. As you get older, you find easier ways to do things. So we're going to use a tractor, as you can see here. We lift him up, and I'm going to run him over here to the skinner. We'll get a water hose in here and knock some of the dirt off this thing. Let one of them go to skinning on him. Thank you. Give me a little water, please.
Hi, I'm Chad Kelly with the Ultimate Outdoor Store. I represent the Southeastern United States Sales Division for Hold a Hog leg snare traps. Thank you for purchasing your Hold a Hog leg snare trapping system. Inside your pig package, you'll find a number 5 Bridger wolf trap. The heart and soul of our trapping system, the spring-loaded snare. PVC snare tube. A steel screen pan cover. Step-by-step instructions on our DVD. And our field guide and user's instructions. Now I'll send it over to the creator and inventor of the Hold a Hog pig package, Mr. Bob Stinnett, for a trap demonstration.
I want to take just a minute and show you and explain to you on the trap why it works, and how I modified it. This is a number 5 wolf trap, and we have taken the number 5 springs off of it and put number 2 springs, because I'm going to say this several times in order to make a point. The trap is merely a snare delivery device. The trap will not hold anything. So with these smaller springs on it, it's easier to work, it's easier to set, it's just easier. I've also put a steel bolt through here, a self-locking nut, and then a little collar right down in here. And what that allows you to do is, using a 5/16 wrench and a Phillips head screwdriver, you can tighten this pan tension down to where, say, a raccoon stepping on it's not going to set it off. So theoretically, you can tighten it enough that it would take at least a, say, 40-pound hog to set it off. You'll notice here the most obvious is that the jaws don't come together. We have a 1 1/4 inch offset jaw. Doesn't harm any animals, doesn't stay on their leg. Trap is a snare delivery device. I've had these lips applied here, and that's actually what holds the snare in position. I want to show you something else here, because I do have some female trappers and got some boys that's trapping, and they're not quite strong enough to set the trap. Grown men, it's just not an issue. It's no big thing. But you can take your pliers, and you have 4 springs on here. These are 4 coil springs. And if you'll take and remove the outside 2, it's just this simple to remove them. And now, just about anybody can set the trap. It's very, very easy to set. This is our little creation, spring-loaded snare. And this, folks, is what it's all about. It's not about the trap. I have to keep saying that. It's not about the trap. It's about this spring-loaded snare. This is what makes everything work right here. We apply this hose here on the end. The whole idea of the hose is to protect an animal from the wire cutting into his leg when they're caught on the snare. Also, we have deer stops on here so that the loop will only close so far. This PVC barrel right here, it has 2 purposes. Here's the first one right here. If you're in the field, I put the locking end through it, I put my foot on it, and I pull it up. The spring has to be totally compressed, and you'll see a band on the snare, and then the washer will slide up, and you'll see a little debit in the washer. So the washer goes on top of the band, and then you simply slide the little dab it over on top of the band, and that will hold your snare in the totally compressed position while you load it on your trap. You open your snare all the way up. Second use for the PVC tube. It goes over the spring. So shove it through like this, and what that does is protect your spring. So when you put it in the ground, and because it goes in the ground like a coyote trap, the spring is not losing a lot of its force and energy pushing its way through the dirt that you cover it with. It has a smooth, straight path straight to this lock. So with that done, we're going to open the trap. Bring it all the way open. You hold it down easily with one hand. You want to lay your snare right on top of that applied lip. Bring your dog over. Bring your trap pin all the way up. There's a couple of no-nos here. We don't want to get this locking system over this ear of the trap right here, and you don't want to get the wire up underneath the hinge pins right here. So with that said, I tell everybody to set the deer stop right up against the dog. Not getting the locking in over the ears, not letting the cable pop underneath the hinges. We've set the deer stop right next to the pan dog. Now what I do is take and apply pressure at 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock. So underneath the pan, I just hold my fingers when I release this spring. I want to stress right here, this went underneath. So this is what you do not want. This will foul your trap. So if you set it, be sure and look on both sides. And if it's like this, then simply bring it out and put it on top, and you're good to go. We're going to bring the pan down to a little bubble that you'll see on the dog. Stop there. We talked earlier on our steel screen. This is what we use for a pan cover. So that goes over, and you can see how you apply, once you apply some soil, that anywhere inside here that an animal steps is going to set the trap off. So this is my imitation hog leg. We have this now in the ground. We're tied off back here. We have just enough soil over the top of it through our sifting pan We're not using hay, we're not using leaves, we're not using grass, we're not using sticks or twigs. Just clean soil, and we use a sifting pan, and it's covered. So you can see here, hog cannot see it, hog cannot smell it. If you've got it sitting beside your feeder or your box trap where they come in every night and eat the corn, I mean, how in the hell can you not catch a hog? So again, I'll say, here's my imitation hog leg. He's gonna come in, this is your hog. He's gonna step in the trap has him. The pig's gonna come out of the trap just like this. What actually happens is the spring throws the snare up and also pushes it shut, so it ropes the animal's leg. The trap immediately falls away because it does have, again, anywhere from 1 1/4 to 1 1/2 inch jaw offset, meaning the jaws don't come together. They're set apart this far. So the trap itself will not hold a house cat, but it will definitely hold a lot of hogs. The thing works. It's very humane, it's very effective, it's very affordable, and it just works. And I'm certainly not sitting here and saying that my product, Hold a Hog Snare Trap, is a solution to the hog problem. I'm saying it's one more tool in your hog trapping toolbox. You're going to catch more hogs. That's just a fact.
To make an effective trap set, we want to look for an area of high hog traffic. What we have here is an active game trail, or you can select an area around a food plot or an active feeder that you're using. What I've selected is an area here that we're going to be using a little sapling, an oak sapling, as an anchor. You could also use a post or some type of earthen anchor. The next step in the process is to load our spring snare. So what we do, we insert the snare tube into the end around the deer stop of our snare spring. Drop down to the ground, and we want to load our spring. Make sure you load the spring so there is absolutely no slack in the spring whatsoever, and using the vice grips that are included inside of your pig package, we lock the spring in place. At this point, we want to take the snare tube from the snare and we want to run it along the spring to serve as a protection device for the spring when it's triggered. At this point, we want to lock the snare to our locking system around our anchor. So no matter how hard an animal pulls, he will not break the tension from the locking system. We want to make sure that the deer stop is on the corner of the trap. The next step is to pack some loose, moist soil down around the bottom of the pan. We want to pack the soil down tight so it acts as a natural walkway and the hog or your target animal doesn't feel anything unnatural. We want to bring the pan down to a very specific level, indicated by the bump at the end of the dog. The next step is to place the screen pan cover on top of the level pan. You want to make sure that you hold the spring in place with your finger if you can, and release the vice grips gently so the spring is loaded against the deer stop. Now the trap is set. Okay, now that we have our trap effectively set down in the ground, the next step is to make a natural deadfall corral. And what I mean by deadfall corral is taking some dead logs or dead branches that have fallen from the trees, and we want to make a corral in the shape of a V. The whole concept of making the deadfall corral is to get your target animal to walk into the corral and feed on the bait that's at the top of the corral. So as he's feeding, naturally he's going to walk around and you will get a rear leg snare, the most effective snare for this trap. Now that we have an effective trap set and we've built our natural deadfall corral, it's time to bait the trap. What I like to use is the Hold a Hog dry carrion bait. And what this is 98% animal renderings, which is dried meat and fat, and 2% spice. It smells like crab oil, not bad. We can't stress enough the importance of scent control around your trap set. If you'll notice, I've been wearing my rubber gloves, nitrile gloves that are included in the pig package. I've also been using my kneeling pad. Very important part of the trap set process. When you're using a kneeling pad, you want to make sure you always keep the same side up, the side that retains your scent. You don't want to get any human scent transferred from your jeans or from your shoes down around your trap set. Always try to use a kneeling pad. In addition, if you don't have any scent blocker, Hold a Hog also sells a 4-ounce bottle of genuine hog urine. Sprinkle a little bit, or in a spray bottle, spray a little bit around the trap set area to cover any human scent. What makes our snaring system non-lethal and humane is the deer stop that we've inserted and modified onto our snare. The deer stop stops the cable spring from closing all the way down on the animal's leg, down to about the size of a quarter, so it doesn't affect the circulation of the caught animal. You'll also notice here we have the catch-friendly sleeve. It's been placed at the end of our snare to reduce any damage to any caught animal, and if it's to be released, it can be released virtually unharmed.